So all that rain yesterday sure threw a wrench in our plans for haying. I don't know how long it's gonna take now for that hay to dry out, because it put down a fair amount of rain. And one of the crappy things is that piece that I was showing you that my dad had raked together, that was supposed to go to horse hay, but now after all that rain, we'll probably just have to bale it up and make it cow hay and have the cows eat it, because it probably won't be high enough quality for horses. So that kind of sucks that way. But I mean, we did need the rain, that's for sure. And so I can't complain too much about that. Just the timing wasn't the best. But anyway, with all that rain, it's gonna be at least a couple days before we're baling anything. So it's gonna give me that much more time to get a few more things ready and just really go through things a bit more thoroughly, I guess. So that big Deutz Alice tractor and the 4x4 baler are ready. I didn't really feel much grease in it just because them rainstorms kept coming through, and so I was just running out, greasing a few things, coming back in, getting out of the rain. But it's ready. Now I'm just gonna start working on these wagons this morning. As I was saying, just gonna grease up the axles and kind of just go over them and check on things. And once this is done, all I really have left to do is work on that 3x3 baler, just get it greased up. So I'm honestly, by the end of the day, we'll be ready to go. We'll just be waiting on the hay to dry. So we'll get going on these wagons and see where the day takes us. So a couple of these bearings don't have any grease zerks on them, so I'm just popping the cap off, and then it's pretty much just a needle. It's stuck on the end of the grease gun. It's a needle that has a grease zert on it. Then I can just get the grease down into the bearings. So while I'm working on these wagons, I just wanted to point out this old wagon here. I mean, they're all old wagons, but this one here was built on top of an old truck frame. So come up here to the front, and you look back there, you can see where the differential was, you know, the pumpkin. I'm looking here at the front axles. You see they still got the brake drums on them and suspension. And they just must jerry-rig this hitch to it to be able to pull it. You can tell, like looking at some of the stuff they welded on, they just used what they had and just welded it together to make it work. You know, parts that they just cut apart to use as arms, and you know what else. I know they just used what they had back in the day. It's always kind of cool looking at this old equipment and seeing how they made it work. Even the back of the wagon is riding on suspension also. I mean, you can tell how old this wood is even. It's got moss and everything growing on it. And if you guys were following the channel a couple years ago, we rebuilt these two wagons. I shouldn't say we rebuilt them, but kind of repurposed some of the materials that we had. And I had to lift this whole bunk up because the bunk here wasn't tall enough to clear the tires. So we added them spacers, and I built all these braces to go across, and we lagged them into the bunk wood. I think there's 4 of these spread out throughout the wagon. And we did the same thing with this one. Just built some braces for it. You can see the one up there in the front. This one here in the middle, another one there. And another one here on the back. Then we ran out of boards for the top of this one, so we've just been patching it together with boards as we find them. And I've actually got some lumber over here from when we tore apart that old loading chute last spring. So I think we'll use those and fill up these gaps here. Not that it's super necessary, but it'll just be nice to have a full deck on this. Battery's about shot. So the back side of this bunk here is all rotted out, and this was actually sitting down on this cross brace instead of sitting back here on the beam that goes across the axle here, like the actual axle. So I just jacked up the bunk a bit, and I put some of this pressure treated lumber under here just to try to get by with it, because honestly this whole beam needs to be replaced. But for now this should work, I hope. So hopefully we'll get some of the weight up on the actual axle and try to keep this, because what was happening was this was squashed so far down that the bottom of the deck here was rubbing on the top of the tire. You can probably see how it wore this wood a little bit. So just want to get this up off the tire and try to get some more of the weight back on the axle. So it's not a very pretty repair, but I think it'll work for a bit. So all these wagons are ready. They're greased up, tires are aired up. It's pretty much ready to go with those. I just want to do a little extra work on this big wagon on the front. So this is the biggest wagon we got by far. It's quite a bit bigger than these other ones. And I want to tighten down all these wheel bearings here. If you listen, you can tell there's a little bit of slop in them. And they all sound like they could use a little bit of tightening. That one doesn't feel too bad. I started noticing them kind of wobble a bit. Last year when we were hauling a bunch of hay up from Randall's, you'd see them get a little bit of wobble to them. So I just want to tighten those back up and snug them up, and we'll pump them full of grease, and we should be pretty much ready with these wagons. So you can see there's quite a bit of play in there. I haven't greased this yet this year. This is all grease from previous years, so there's plenty of grease in there. So we'll just jack this tire up and take this castle nut off. You probably can't see the castle nut, but there's a castle nut here, I'm sure, with a cotter key. And we'll tighten down that castle nut and get this to the correct tightness and give her a couple spins, see how we like it. I know that's probably not the safest way to jack this up, but I'm not taking the tire off or anything. I just need to get it barely off the ground so I can spin it and see how things are feeling. So if it does happen to fall, it's only going to fall yay far. I'll just be careful not to have my fingers under there. Got the key out. You can see there's this castle nut here that we can tighten down to take that slop out of the wheel bearings here. match to 1. That seems about right. Let's see if we can find our hole again. There we go. All right, there we go. All right, well that's that. So I just gotta do the exact same thing with these other 3 tires and it'll be pretty much good. I probably won't film these other 3 because they're all gonna be exactly the same thing. Oh yeah, feels a lot better. Well, it started raining again. Luckily I just finished up tightening those wheel bearings on that big wagon. Just getting things cleaned up. So once I get this all cleaned up, I'll move over to the shed there where the 3x3 baler's at and grease it up and get it ready. I'm just out here in this equipment shed, going over this 3x3 baler, greasing it up and just checking the bearings, just checking all the wearable things. So this arm right here and this pickup arm that has all these teeth on it, this is that repair that we had to do last year. And it seems like it's held together all last season and hopefully it stays working fine this year. So if you guys didn't see that video last year or new to the channel, what happened was this arm here. There's an arm just like this just on the other side, but anyway, one of these bearings went out and this arm ran off a track and this got all bent up and twisted inside of here, so we had to replace a bunch of these teeth, or at least repair a bunch of these teeth. I shouldn't say replace them, but straighten everything back out and re-weld it and get it put back together. Like I say, knock on wood, it's been running pretty good since then. So I just noticed how bad the audio was in that last clip. But all I was saying is, in case anybody's wondering, we still have 100 acres of hay down on the ground getting rained on, and just not sure how it's gonna look after all this moisture we've gotten. But I guess time will tell. Hopefully here in the next week or so we can start thinking about getting it put back up and baled up. But we'll have to see. Mother Nature's gonna have to cooperate with us. So the fields here in these drone shots are the ones up here at our place under the pivots. You can see the river pasture there in the background where the cows are at, or some of the cows are. So we have these fields down here that are cut, and then we also have those 65 acres down at Randall's that I was showing you in the last video, or a video or two ago, that is still on the ground too. So not the best situation, but I'm gonna end this one here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Have a good day.